Welcome back. We're back in the workshop. I just took off the people's pipe, and I forget how old this thing is, but I don't think it's 2 years old. You can see it is in need of some touch-up paint, some sanding, and some touch-up paint. So we're gonna deal with that later. So I just popped it off, and I'm gonna lay it to the side here. Put it somewhere, right? Let's see where we can put it. And then what I wanted to do was try something else. So here we've got the Honda Express exhaust. And this is smaller than the stock nu50 exhaust. Let's see if I can grab this sucker. So kind of, is this on film? Nope. Let's go this way. So, I'll just put them over here. So you can kind of see the nu50 exhaust is a bit longer, and then the header is a bit longer on the nu50 exhaust, but the connection to the cylinder is the same, and the Express exhaust is much easier to locate. Oh, look at that, man. I don't know if you can see. There's a lot of carbon buildup on the inside of this thing. Wow, man. But anyhow, this is a lot easier to find used. I think I paid, like, with shipping, $40 for this, which is on the low side. And there's plenty of them out there. I think, you know, sellers eventually realize that, sorry, they can't get their $150 mark. By the way, if anybody wants this was the victim of a hack and weld, but perhaps you've got a good header and a bad body and you want the body, let me know. This is the nu50 one. So where are we in life? Oh yeah. So anyhow, I was thinking of doing a hack and weld on this, which would serve like a double purpose. I think I could make it fit on both the Urban Express and the regular Express. And this pipe, the header is shorter and it's more curved, I believe, than on the Urban Express, but we can work with that. And when you're doing a hack and weld, I try to cut as much of the header off as possible, and that way you can always cut it shorter. You can't cut it longer, but I try to leave a little nub so that, you know, if I were to move this onto another person, at least the main body of the exhaust, they have something they can weld onto. And you know, the thing about these Express exhausts is, you know, this bracket deal that they bracket connection they came up with. So anyhow, what I thought I would do would, you know, show you how I go about doing this hack and weld thing. Now I don't weld, at least not yet, but I've got a feeling that's in my near future, because with a welder, you know, the world is your oyster with these things, man. So I spent $40 on this. I spent $48 on this. It's in a Jamarkle bag, but it's really a Tecno Boss pipe, and it's got a much longer silencer than the MLM pipe. So we're going to try it and see. And then on this one, what I'll do is I'll hack off the flange, leaving myself as much pipe to work with as possible, and then marry the header of the express exhaust to the rest of this exhaust. And then I know this guy at the local hardware store who will weld it up for me. And I'll also have him weld a bracket for the other rear fender stay, so I have complete fender support, which you don't find in the MLM pipe out of the box. So I'm just going to take a hacksaw, and the first time I did this I hated to hack up an nu50 exhaust. I don't feel so bad about hacking up an express exhaust because they're much more plentiful and cheaper. And but oh well, it's all in the name of science. See you soon. Okay, so let me move this a little bit. Right here, that's the header I've hacked off, and I've loosely attached it. And you got to kind of figure out how things are going to work. And so I've got my other pipe, and luckily it kind of has this kind of goes out and then back in, which is nice because it looks like, and I don't have a lot of clearance if I leave it this length. Or I could bend this header some, but let's see. Probably that kind of an angle. And then I'm going to have to guess somewhat. I imagine I'm going to have to cut it like right here. And then see how that works. Again, you can always cut off more, but you can't. You can cut it shorter, but you can't cut it longer. So, well, you can kind of cut it longer because if you need, you can always add, weld up 3 pieces instead of 2. So if you need like a little spacer piece, you can always add that. And the other thing is, this diameter pipe is much bigger than the diameter of the stock header. So you got to come up with a spacer too, but that's no big deal. So, yeah, imagine I've got to take out all this curve, kind of cut it here. And then the other consideration is, how long do I want the new total header length to be, as opposed to the normal header length on this pipe. Now you could try to keep it the same. If you make a longer header length, I believe that'll give you more low end. A shorter header length will give you more top end. But and then there's like a formula online, I forget what it is now, but I can link to it in the video, where the length of the header is proportional to the total length of the pipe. Or maybe not the total length of the pipe, but and then the length of the header in this first cone. So this first, what are we looking at? So this cone ends here, and then we start this other cone here. So this cone and the header is also, there's some sort of proportion to the length of the pipe, probably without the silencer, but like I said, I can link to that later. But I think I'm just going to try to keep the new header length similar to the, and I guess it would be all of this, similar to the old header length here. Just, I guess the assumption is, you know, they knew what they were doing when they made the pipe. Of course, they made this for a Tomos, which I like to say Tomos, which I guess is wrong. But we're pronouncing everything wrong in moped world anyways, except for Honda and Urban Express. So I guess I'll begin cutting. Okay, I'm back. I discovered that what I'm going to have to do is turn it. I'm going to have to weld a new bracket. And I think if I see, now let me pull it off. If I put it on like it was intended, it's just going to sit up way hot, or sit, it's going to sit up something like this. But if I turn it, rotate it slightly to the left, maybe, there we go. Just slide it on here. It's going to sit better, and I can actually put it about right there. And of course, probably going to have to weld a bracket here, or maybe out here, right here, and then I'll figure out that rear fender. This might be sitting pretty high to use the rear fender stay as it is. Sit about right there. Let's swing over this side. I kind of like that. So the sticker's facing up, but oh well. And my header's a little too long right now. Shove it on further, it goes further out. And then the other consideration is if you do weld a bracket, you want to get it on the same plane as your mounting hole here. I mean, you can use a spacer or whatever, but obviously this mount is critical to supporting the weight of the exhaust. But that's pretty close. So, where's my old, how much have I added? If I keep it as is, I've added probably a little over 1 inch to the header length, which isn't bad. I could probably live with that. So, and actually, I won't need much of a spacer here. So a bracket, now here I'll have to get my the exhaust bracket I'm going to use and kind of line that up, and then just take a Sharpie for the welder and mark where I want that, and I can always cut off the old bracket. And then I'll sand the header where the weld's going to be, and put a couple marks where he can line that up. And I might have him just tack it at first, and then come back and test fit it, and then have him do the final weld. So, yeah, that's pretty close. I'm going to take it off and look at it off the bike too. So we're getting there. So my advice would be, you know, I do like the People's Pipe. It's $200. What I've got 88 in this, and they'll only charge me like 20 bucks to weld it up. So 108, and maybe, you know, the brackets another $5. So 113 bucks, and we'll see how it runs. Of course, it's, you know, it's always a mystery because this pipe wasn't meant for this bike, and I'm modifying things, the length of the header, etc., etc. But hey, it's fun, right? It's an experiment. That's the great thing about mopeds. It's a big experiment. And if you like experiments, well, here you go. Hey, how about some bonus footage? So I got, on the advice of one of my viewers, the new racing CDI with XY axes and graph. So I said, you know, why not? You know, we'll give it a shot. So I just took out the stock CDI. I'll put it back in so you can see exactly how it goes. I believe like this. This little bar here. You can do it. Slide right in. This is why I hate these stupid oil tanks. There's oil all over this inside here. So CDI, flasher relay. This is the regulator. This is a Urban Express Deluxe. So what, do they have a separate regulator and rectifier? Because on the regular Urban Express, they're both combined. So that would be my guess. If I'm wrong, sue me. Anyhow, so, and I took off the oil level indicator, which normally plugs in here and is part of the oil tank. So we just, to unplug it, we just push down on that and pull out on that. And let's see how this thing fits. And to install the new one, we just do like so. How wide is that sucker? Will it go in? Let's compare it to the old. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting that little retaining band around it. So let's just see here. Can I slide it underneath somehow? Yeah. I guess, you know, put it down there. We need to wedge it in or tie it down somehow. We don't want this thing rattling around and stuff. Maybe I can work it under there a little bit. I don't know. There we go. And then maybe get these wires there. All right. I'll wipe up some of this oil mess. Pain in the ass. And well, it's going to rain. It's raining now. It's going to rain all day tomorrow. So maybe the next day, I'll get it out. Also making progress on the hack and weld exhaust. Welder tacked it up. I brought it home for a test fit, made some adjustments, took it back, and should have it in the next day or two. Rock and rolla. All right, there's your freebie, free update, free parts identification, and free CDI replacement. Still ad free, brother. This will tell us a little bit. Oh, I like it. The center stand doesn't hit it either, which is sweet. So it's sitting high enough. That was the problem with the bi-turbo, hanging too low. Yeah, I like it. I changed the main jet too. It doesn't sound so rich. Not as much smoke either, so you know it's not as rich as it was running before. We'll have to give it a test tomorrow, see how she runs. Front brake sticking on this thing. Let's wheel out the bone crushers by. Shit, this thing may be out of gas. I think it is out of gas. But anyways, let's back it up, back it up, back it up. You can kind of see I've got just got some new camera mounts. One on the back behind the seat and one on by the mirror there. I might have enough gas to start it. Let's see. Alright, the keys are elsewhere. We'll start it up later. As a matter of fact, I'll start it up tomorrow and we'll have the 3-camera view. It's going to be sweet. You're going to love it. You're going to love it, man.